Happy Friday, everyone. My name is Justin Moore. I'm the founder of Creator Wizard, where I teach you how to find and negotiate your dream sponsorships. So drop it in the chat where you're tuning in from. Today, we are talking about what to do and what to say if your sponsorship does not go well. This is a fear that I think a lot of creators have, which is that they'll do a collaboration with the brand and then they come back, the brand will come back to them at the end of it and say, you didn't drive enough sales, or you didn't drive enough conversions, or you didn't get enough views on the video or the post or whatever it is. And they live in fear of this, right? It's one of the primary reasons that creators don't other than invoicing them and making sure they get paid and maybe sending analytics or whatever. It's one of the reasons that a lot of creators don't, ask the brand, hey, how'd it go? Because they can't, their ego can't take it if it in fact did not go well. So this is what we're going to be talking about today. So again, drop it in the chat where you're tuning in from. We've got fourth born child tuning in all the way from the Philippines. Good to see you here. We've got Need the Recipe Bree going. What's going on, Bree? We've got alongside Aubrey, Lily Girl, Keeping It Rizza. We've got Clean Snob, Sip and Dip, Hustling Mama, Rosie, what's going on? We got Nikki Posley tuning in on Instagram. Good to see you here last Friday of the month. I'm actually, in fact, going to be speaking at the Hey Creator Summit in about 2 hours as well. So I'm doing this live stream and then I'm going to eat a quick bite and then I'm going to be speaking all about pitching at the Hey Creator Summit in a little bit. So looking forward to that. So back-to-back live sessions today. We've got Sev tuning in from Texas. What's going on? Good to see you here. Architectural Sheet Metal 101. Good to see you here. We've got Ivy Riku tuning in on Instagram as well. Who is Bear? Good to see you all here today. All right, so as you know, my Friday live streams are for y'all, and so whatever questions that you have about, brand deals, negotiations, sponsorships, et cetera, please drop it in the chat. Would love to answer that a little bit later in the live stream. We've got John Willis. What's going on, John? Good to see you here. Joshua Timothy said, you're killing it, Justin. Thanks, Joshua. Appreciate you, dude. We've got Sarah Dawn tuning in from Toronto, lurking and listening while you sample knit. Good to hear it. Good to see you here, as always, Sarah. All right, so let's talk about a couple things. So what do you say when a brand comes back to you and says, hey, it didn't go so well? So, if your sponsorship doesn't perform well, you know what you should say to the brand? Thank you for sharing this with me. Because most brands don't. Have you ever had this situation where you ask a brand like, hey, how many sales did I generate? Or can you send me some data on how this, campaign actually went? And whether it's a brand or whether it's an agency, sometimes they'll come back and say, I'm sorry, we can't share that data with you. Maybe because it's either proprietary, right? Like they're not able to share it because they, don't want that data being, leaked, or they just don't want that data being public, or it's just like, common practice or standard practice for their brand or their organization that they don't share that kind of data. And it's really difficult, as a creator, if you're kind of operating in a vacuum, you don't really know how it went. The only way that most creators, the only data that creators sometimes get back oftentimes is, hey, we want to renew with you. And so you surmise as a creator that, well, I guess it must have gone well. They wouldn't have wanted to renew with me if it didn't go well, or if I didn't drive the outcome that they were looking for, right? But if a brand does reach out to you and say, hey, it didn't go so well, if you're able to say, hey, thank you for sharing this with me because this is super useful for me. And if you can normalize reacting calmly, they're going to instantly have more respect for you because, I think one of the reasons that, brands don't share this information, in addition to this whole proprietary conversation, is because they're terrified of getting flamed on social media. Because, it's this kind of pervasive attitude where a lot of creators will go onto Twitter or go onto TikTok and they'll just be like, this brand, I can't believe that they emailed me this and said I didn't do well. Like, my video was awesome. I held up my end of the bargain. Like, screw this brand. Go flame them, everyone who follows me in their comment section or their customer support lines. It's like, you've seen these videos, right? By the way, did you like my impression of an entitled creator? Because I've seen these videos. I don't know if you guys have. Brands are live in fear of this type of thing. And so that's one of the other reasons why they don't want to share this type of information. But if you can, react calmly, if you can be objective, if you can have humility about this stuff and understand that this is a business transaction, then wow, they're going to have so much more respect for you, and perhaps be able to engage with you further to have this conversation. Ashley says, I love when Justin starts acting. Thank you. Did that one deserve an Emmy? Because I thought it was pretty good. It was kind of impromptu, but yeah, I appreciate you, Ashley. Thank you. Rosie says entitled creator needs to be a returning character, Justin. Yeah. Who is Bear says, entitled creators cringe, right? Yeah. And so, another thing to consider, I think, is that if your sponsorship doesn't perform well, you know what you should say to the brand? Here's why I think that is. Couple questions here. Did you ask about the objectives at the beginning of the partnership when you were engaging and first negotiating with them? Because if you didn't ask what their success metrics were, then this is probably why it didn't go well. I was on, I did an interview with Jay Klaus of Creator Science recently. If you haven't checked out that video, definitely would recommend it on his YouTube channel. And one of the things I talk about here is that, like, if you go into he asked me this question, like, okay, if a brand doesn't know what success would look like or what a win would look like to them, should you still do that partnership? And I said, absolutely not. You will only lose. It's a catch-22, because here's what's going to happen. If you may have experienced this, where you do a deal, the brand comes back and says, hey, you didn't drive number of sales. And you are sitting here thinking, like, you didn't even say that was going to be the objective, because if I knew that was the objective, I would have tactically executed this partnership differently. One of the things I talk about is, like, imagine the difference between an execution for a brand awareness campaign and one for a conversion campaign. If the brand says brand awareness, that's what we care about, then probably what you're going to say is, okay, how about I put your logo on my podcast cover art and it says powered by brand? Or maybe at the very top of every podcast episode, I say, thanks to our supporting sponsor X for supporting my content. And then you may not even talk about them again for the entire podcast episode or the YouTube video. Heck, they may not even be in the show notes, a link to them. That is a brand awareness tactical execution. Do you know what a conversion execution would be? Click the link in the description and use my promo code CreatorWizard20 for 20% off your first purchase. That is a conversion focused execution. That is a direct response focused execution. And if the brand can't tell you what the objective is, then you're not gonna know how to execute this content. Right? And so you being able to say, here's why I think that is, then you're going to be taking ownership over that rather than shifting the blame to the brand or your audience. Right? Oh, well, it's the brand's fault, right? I mean, should I come back entitled creator Justin again? Right? Oh, it was not my fault. Nothing's my fault here, right? Nothing that I do has any impact over this. No. Take the L. What can this teach you about yourself, the way in which you create content? Or maybe, what does this teach you about your audience's affinity for this brand or the product or the category? Maybe you thought that it was going to be a great fit, but it actually turned out to be not. You have to be able to, like, be humble and look at this in objectively and say, okay, well, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was wrong about this. And I need to understand more deeply about the psychographics of my audience. And that may inform the types of partners that I ultimately work with down the line. Can I get some like hand clap emojis here in the chat? Can I get some diamond hands, some mind blown emojis? Is this resonating with you? Are you going to be more equipped and prepared and objective if this ever happens to you again? Maybe it hasn't before, but when it does. Nakota says, hey, Justin, Dan here, tuning in from the world's 10th smallest country, Malta. Wow, good to see you here, Nakota. Mallorca under the sun, got the praise hands emoji. Preach, says Sev. We've got some claps from Rosie and Bree and official Tangerine in the chat. Good to see you here. Otter Sun with the hand clap emoji. All right. Want to talk about something else here. If your sponsorship doesn't perform well, you know what you should say to the brand? Here's how we can fix that with the next piece of content. Don't automatically assume that a brand will not want to collaborate with you just because this first piece of content or the previous piece of content didn't perform well. You may think like, oh man, there's just no way that they would ever pay me again if it didn't, meet the number of sales or meet the number of conversion or get the number of views or listens or downloads or whatever it is on this piece of content. But if you can come back to that with a well-reasoned, a well-justified reason why you think it didn't perform well and how you think you can overcome that objection with your audience on that next piece of content, they may ultimately just go with you. I've told this story before that I was on Nathan Barry's podcast and we were talking about, he's the CEO of ConvertKit, the email marketing provider for creators. And we were talking about this very thing. And he said, if we hired a creator to talk about ConvertKit and they didn't ultimately drive the number of trial signups for ConvertKit that we were hoping that we would based on the dollar value that we paid them, but they came back to us with a bunch of information about the market. Hey, the creator says, hey, I had all these people in my comment section or replying to the email or DMing me or whatever on this sponsorship saying, oh, I'm using this other, ESP over here, this other email service provider. And I'm really interested in checking out ConvertKit, but I have all these automations, I have these sequences, I have these tags. It just feels, oh man, it's such a pain in the butt to convert and to migrate over. I don't want to do it, right? And so if you're able to take that feedback and circle that back to the brand, that now allows the brand to say, oh, we actually have a concierge migration team if you fit that criteria. And so there we go. There's the next activation idea, right? And so rarely are brands accustomed to getting this type of qualitative feedback from creators when they partner that even if the quantitative metrics aren't up to what they were hoping they would be, they simply may just continue to roll with you because you were the one person who had the humility and the objectivity to deliver that. You were able to swallow your pride and understand that it's brands' preference to keep it rolling with you. They don't want to have to go out there and forge all these one-off partnerships constantly all the time, because also remember, there is a limited supply of creators that exist out there like you in the universe. It's one thing if you're just like a random generic commodified lifestyle creator, right? Like, yes, there's tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of those. If that's you and you don't have any sort of like wedge other than I'm a lifestyle creator, yeah, it's going to be hard. You're going to be commoditized. Sorry. Right. But, in actuality, in reality, brands, they are looking for oftentimes very specific demographic, psychographic types of creators that they want to partner with that are not in unlimited supply. So if you can help them make it easy to keep rolling with you is the point, right? And if you can circle back a lot of this feedback, that's going to instantly differentiate yourself. Okay. John says, I can never write fast enough when these knowledge bombs are being dropped. Boom, let's go. Thanks, John. We've got Brahim tuning in. We've got Venus Sublime. We've got Pod Sound School. Ashley says, wow, I love that approach to creating the next piece of content with the brand. Exactly. Brandon from Tech Auto TV, good to see you here, dude. He said, when handled correctly, bad sponsorships can be the very beginning of a very strong long-term partnerships. Simply showing the brand that you care already sets you apart from many creators. Exactly. Can we get some hand golf claps for Brandon in the chat? That's exactly right. Majorca Under the Sun said, hey, Justin, it's Alexandra here tuning in from Majorca, Spain. Next to Ibiza, I've been binge watching your videos and they are awesome. I appreciate you, Alexandra. It's so nice to connect with you. I wish I was in Majorca right now. Yeah, nice to have you here. We got Mo Dizzle. What's up, Molly? Good to see you here. Happy Friday. Yeah, Yeah, Joshua says, I already have some ideas to be proactive and provide a success metrics for the end of last year and ask how they felt about success and then plan on some goals for this year. Boom. Love to see it, Joshua. I think there was a question here from Rosie. Rosie said in the chat, rather than wait for them to tell us that the ROI wasn't great, how can we be proactive and contact them first to see how the campaign went? Well, Rosie, that's exactly kind of the order of operations that I teach in my Brand Deal Wizard program is putting together what I call a post-campaign report and understanding all the different elements that you need to be pulling together, both quantitative and qualitative, to come back to them and say, hey, here's how I think the campaign went. And yes, and you may, that may be the opening to allow them to provide you some feedback of how they think, thought it went. But there's all sorts of stuff that you have access to, even if the brand is not, telling you that you have, here's how many sales you drove, or here's XYZ, right? Let's list it out, right? You've got the public facing social metrics, right? If it's a social media activation, the views, the engagement, the comments, if it's a newsletter, opens, click rate. These are all the metrics that, insights that you have in your dashboard, demographics. Like you have access to, if it's a YouTube video, audience retention, you've got a lot of stuff, right? So the public facing, if it is a brand awareness campaign, if that was the objective, then you've got everything you need. You don't need anything from them, right? Because that's the metrics that they're going to care about for that type of campaign. If it is a conversion focused campaign, yeah, you're not going to have, maybe you do actually have some sort of dashboard, click dashboard, something like that. There is a tool that I use for my newsletter integrations called short.io, and it allows you to use your own custom domain to do short linking. You have to make sure, check with the brand before you do this, but basically what this is I've identified a subdomain. Mine is called go.creatorwizard.com, and so I create custom short URLs for every activation that I do. So if the brand provides me some sort of tracking link, like a link that has like UTM source, UTM campaign, you may have seen that in the URL, so that they can track clicks and things like that, performance. Now, obviously, you have to make sure before you do this, you have to make sure that they're cool with it. But most brands are, because again, you're using their link, you're just kind of redirecting it. And what this allows you to do is you have your own dashboard of click data. And so you can see it's way better than I've found that this tool is way better than things like Bitly and stuff like that. It's called short.io, and it's pretty inexpensive, but it's super valuable because now you have some quantitative data that you can use to put in your own post-campaign reports. And so you've got the quantitative stuff. What about qualitative stuff? Like I was just talking about, we've got replies. Are people saying stuff about the brand or the product or the service in the comments section? Do people reply to that email? Did they DM you questions about that? This type of thing. Like I did a partnership with Circle recently, which is the community tool that I use for my private community in my course. And I did some UGC type content that I posted natively on my platforms. The brand repurposed it for paid advertising. I screenshotted a lot of the comments that I was getting on the posts or via email when I ultimately published, those partnerships. And I used that to inform the next round of content because it was a monthly partnership. For example, someone replied to one of my short form assets that I posted on LinkedIn, I think, and said, can you accept payments on Circle? And so I screenshotted that comment and I went back to the brand team and I said, hey, I would love to make a video showing how you can accept payments on Circle. And they're like, sounds great. And so I did a green screen, where I went and I showed I had my little, image in the bottom. And I just did a couple different screen shares of okay, here's where you do the setting. Here's where you set the price. Here's where you do it. Boom, 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 boom. Brand loved it. And my audience loved it because I'm literally I'm answering direct questions that I was getting about the sponsor. And so this does not have to be complicated. And so your question about these are the types of things that you can provide in your post-campaign reports. And critically, one of the things I teach in my Brand Deal Wizard program is that you have to be pitching the next collaboration idea in the post-campaign report. Right? It's a perfect opportunity. Here's all the insights that we learned about this campaign. Here's what we should do with the next one. Is this making sense? Can I get some hand clap emojis here? Yes, yes, yes. Okay, love it, love it. I'm gonna take a swig here. The in-between says, amazing impression. You actually had me convinced. Was that the entitled creator? Is that what you were saying amazing for? We've got Heather Cooper tuning in from X. What's going on, Heather? Good to see you here. John Willis says, love your studio, by the way. Appreciate you, dude. The in-between. Oh, just caught up on the stream. I was playing it at 1.5x. Tim Sharif said, smart, focusing on performance. Exactly. You know what, Tim? I'm so glad you brought this up because, I talk a lot about optimizing performance and how to analyze this stuff, how to be objective, how to have humility with this stuff. And you want to know why? Is because one of the ways to make like 10 times more money on sponsorships is not just honing your negotiation chops, because a lot of creators, I got to be real, like a lot of the reason why creators tell me that they join my Brand Deal Wizard program is that they say that they want to get better at negotiating, right? Because they think that the only way that they can maximize the amount of money that they make per deal and not leave money on the table is by getting better at negotiating. And yes, of course, that is one of your levers as a creator, as any sort of like business when you're doing negotiations, of course. Understanding the psychology. A lot of what I talk about is understanding the psychology of your negotiating partner, understanding all the decision makers that you need to be aware of that on the other side of the table, understanding various things that you can do, upselling and packages and price anchoring and all the stuff that I talk about in my Brand Deal Wizard program. But a very large part of making a lot of a consistent income on sponsorships is repeat business, is understanding that if you can optimize the performance, the execution of the campaign so that more people buy it, more people sign up, more people say that they heard about this brand or this product from you, then that's going to encourage the brand to continue working with you. And so you should be fixated as equally on how to become a better seller, understanding consumer psychology, understanding how to overcome objections when you're talking about a brand or a product, because that is going to ensure that the campaign performs better. And then surprise, the brand's going to want to renew with you. And so if you're not thinking that like these layers deep, what are you even doing? I will say, like, y'all are here. So I know that you're thinking about this stuff, but most people aren't, is the point, right? All right. We've got Crystal Prophet tuning in on Instagram saying, yes, data is key. I want to give a big shout out to Crystal. If you guys don't know Crystal, please go check her out. Check out her podcast. She has been creating content for a very long time. She's, published multiple books. And I just want to tell a quick story of the power of putting positive energy out there into the universe. I was on Crystal's podcast a few months back, and at the very end of her podcast, she asked, like, who is your dream podcast guest, or who is the dream podcast that you would love to be on one day? And I said Amy Porterfield. And because, before I launched my Brand Deal Wizard course, I probably binged the entire back catalog of Amy's podcast, Online Marketing Made Easy. And she has hundreds and hundreds of episodes. She is one of the definitive authorities on the internet about creating digital courses. And I attribute a huge part of my success from my course to Amy. And so when I said that at the end of Crystal's podcast, we turned off the recording and she said, Justin, I'm going to help you. I'm going to make this happen because I am a Digital Course Academy alumni. I've taught multiple times in Amy's membership. And so I'm going to make an intro for you. And so she introed me to, someone on Amy's team. This was actually, no, this must've been longer ago. This was maybe been 6 months ago, because when she introed me, basically Amy's team was like, oh, we're already booking into 2024. So this must've been like mid last year. And so it took 6-8 months. I guess it must've been 6-8 months. And finally, as of like a week or two ago, I've been officially confirmed that I'm going to be a guest teacher in Amy's Momentum membership. And so it's this whole full circle moment. And I have Crystal to thank for that, because she didn't have to do that. We knew each other kind of. I met her at Craft and Commerce last year, but she didn't really know me. She went out on a limb and introduced me to Amy's team and vouched for me. And that meant so much to me, and I have, that's been always my ethos of like, I want to pay it forward. I want to help people out. Hey, let me shout you out in my newsletter. You don't have to pay me. You don't need to sponsor me. Like, I think what you're doing is cool. Let me just give you a shout out. That's always been my ethos when it comes to this, because I feel like all this stuff comes back around. And I think like, honestly, like, I'm so appreciative of you, Crystal. Like, it means so much to me. Yeah, Crystal says karma. Justin puts good out into the world and gets 10x back. Appreciate that so much, Crystal, and I appreciate you. It was so kind of you to make that intro, and it wouldn't have happened if it weren't for you. So thank you. I really, really appreciate it, and I can't wait to actually do that. All right, let me take a swig and read some of these questions here. Yo, we got Arvid tuning in the chat. Arvid, what is going on, dude? I got great news for you. I did a public sponsorship coaching call with Arvid. If you don't know Arvid from the Bootstrap founder, I did a public coaching call with Arvid, and it's going to be going live next week. I think like 1st or 2nd of February. I cannot wait, Arvid. The episode turned out fire. And yeah, it's going to be a good one. So make sure to check that one out. Good to see you here, Arvid. Let's see here. Other questions here. Haley said, what about when the sponsorship went well? The post reached a lot of people and the brand appreciated that, but now they don't have the budget or already filled out their campaigns for the quarter. This is a great question, Haley. Well, keep nurturing that brand. This happens, where it went well, vibes are great. They don't have budget. Well, that's probably just the case, but your job is to put them into your sponsorship wheel, which is in essence a sales pipeline, and you nurture the heck out of them until they have the budget that's available for you. You don't just let this die on the vine and never talk to the brand again. And don't just, assume that they're saying this because they're trying to just be cheap. It's probably true. They don't have any more budget. And so, maybe they only allocate, paid creator budgets every quarter, and so you may have done great work for them last month, but they've already allocated all their money, for that quarter. And so they just don't have budget for the following month or even the month after that. And so, but it takes you on their, being on their radar, reaching out, providing value. You're not just saying, hey, do you have money now? Hey, do you have money now? You're providing value. Hey, here's an article from Digiday about how this other brand is killing it with short form content. Oh, hey, want me to do a lunch and learn over Zoom with your team? Let's go. We'll talk about what I'm seeing on the ground as a YouTuber, as a creator, as a podcaster, et cetera, et cetera. You're reaching out, you're providing value. You're at the forefront of their mind so that when they do have budget, next quarter or next month or whenever it is, they're going to think of you, right? And so don't be discouraged about that. That's a really positive thing. And so I talk about a lot that like, you just have to understand how things work behind the scenes with brands and ad agencies. It's not that they don't like you. It's not that they hate you. It's not like you screwed something up. It's just, this is the reality sometimes with budget allocation. And so, I think you're in a great situation, Haley. I think you just start being very mindful and tracking a lot of these relationships, and don't let it fall off the radar. Make sure that you're following up with that brand at least, every couple weeks or once a month. That would be my advice there. Arvid says, yes, looking forward to reliving our chat. Yes, 100%, dude. It turned out awesome. All right. Let's see. We had a question here. Ashley says repeat business is key, but to be honest, you also teach top tier negotiation skills. LOL, just saying. Yes, I appreciate that, Ashley. Yes, I teach it all. I teach it all. I think that's the moral of the story. John says, does Brand Deal Wizard walk you through how to do reports after the partnership? Yep. Absolutely. That is the entire kind of back end section of the program teaches that very thing. So great question, John. Let's see here. What other questions have we got here? Haley says, thank you for answering. Going to keep at that nurturing and also send some DM and comment screenshots from past collabs. Yeah, just a quick anecdote from one of my alumni of the program and ongoing coaching clients, Emma. She has a YouTube channel all about cruising, and she shared in the share your wins section of our community recently that she recently inked a deal with a brand that had taken 4 follow-ups to hear back from them. 4 follow-ups without them replying. So she was basically shouting into the void like, hey, brand, how's it going? Not saying, oh, do you have any money now? Oh, do you have any money now? No, it's like she was providing value similar to the examples that I was sharing earlier. And on the fourth email, the brand finally responded and said, "Oh, thank you so much. It's been super busy. I apologies. Yeah, let's move forward on this deal. Great timing. We've got something." And now they're moving forward on a deal. So I like to say, like, could you set that as your goal? Could you have the tenacity to follow up with the brand 4 times without them responding? Could you set that as a goal for yourself? That's a hard thing to do, but a lot of riches, a lot of rewards await creators who have that level of humility and perseverance. And so I always hold up Emma as a shining example of like, oh man, that's kind of a hard thing to do, but it's just business. People are busy, especially if it's small brands, small companies. They don't have a lot of resources. They're probably wearing all the hats. They're doing the Google pay-per-click ads. They're doing the, trade convention booths. They're doing the print magazine. They're doing everything. Right. And so I just think having some empathy for what's going on the other side of the table oftentimes can go a long way. Let's see. We got a question here from Nakota Fishing that I may have missed. Let's see. Nakota, where's your question? Here. You used to contact companies on a daily basis by email around 5 years ago. I started pitching again now after binging your content, but where have all the employee emails gone? Only contact forms everywhere. Well, you know what, Nakota? It's probably because there's lots and lots of creators sending crappy pitches. I'm not saying that your pitches were crappy, but this is what they were inundated. Brands were inundated by creators sending really lazy, uninteresting, boring pitches, and they just got sick of it. And so they started putting up, press@brand.com emails or contact form emails. And that allows them to vet the submissions and only responds to the appropriate ones. I am going to give you just a quick peek behind the scenes of something very exciting that I'm launching in less than 2 weeks now, that's going to chiefly help you with this issue. Okay, you heard it here first. We are launching something called the 7-Day Pitch Challenge. I cannot wait. Let's go. I'm going to put some sound effects here in the chat because I'm super excited. This is going to be it's going to be a paid challenge. And it's going to be 7 days of accountability. There's going to be some live sessions with me. There's going to be some asynchronous videos. There's going to be a pop-up private group in my community for the duration of the challenge, where we're going to be providing support on your pitches. We're going to be providing some guidance on how to find these email addresses, find the right contacts at these brands. In essence, it's kind of the kind of the first section of my Brand Deal Wizard program. But one of the reasons why we decided to do this challenge is that, when people take my sponsorship wheel snapshot, which is my assessment tool, that's free, by the way, creatorwizard.com/snapshot. Anyone can take it. Almost universally, everyone rates themselves the lowest on step 1, which is pitching. And it makes sense, right? Because if you can't get past that first step where you either don't know what to say when you reach out to a brand, or you don't know how to pitch yourself when a brand reaches out to you and is inquiring about a collaboration. If you don't know what to say, then all the other steps are kind of moot, right? Because you can't learn to be a better negotiator or a better producer or a better analyzer or whatever, and all the different other steps I talk about until you understand the pitching step. And so we really wanted to craft some sort of, challenge, some sort of offer, some sort of thing that we could launch to help people get past this first step. And so it's going to be at a much more approachable price point. I'm very excited about it. It's going to be the most affordable thing I've ever launched, which I'm really excited about. I've never done anything like that before. And so, yeah, anyone hyped for this right now? Because I'm super excited. I think we're going to be opening the doors on February 5th, and the 7-day challenge is going to be from the 9th to the 16th. That's kind of our tentative days. So, yeah, let me in the chat. Is this exciting to you? Because we're going to be addressing this very thing in that challenge. I'm very, very excited about that. All right. Let's see here. Hey, we got Mary in the chat, Hiking with Mary, saying, a brand has offered me a $2,000 bonus if the reel organically reaches 200,000 views after 14 days, is there any way I can boost the video to reach that? Or since it says organically, I can't. Yeah. I mean, if it explicitly says in the contract, then, you know, it has to be 200,000 views organically, then you can't boost it artificially. That would be breach of contract. That would be against the, you know, the terms of the agreement. So I would dare very much steer clear of trying to boost it artificially if they're very specifically saying 200,000 views organically. You know, a lot of brands, you have to be careful with these types of setups because, some brands will try to put these types of clauses in the agreement to get you to agree to a much lower compensation amount with the promises of like, oh, you know, look at all this extra money we're going to pay you if it like exceeds all these views. And then creators get really excited and they get stars in their eyes of like, oh my gosh, look at how much money I could make if I, achieve this level of views or whatever. And then it doesn't happen. And then you get deflated. And it's like, oh man, I agreed to do this for $50 or $200 or whatever. And now it's like, you had, these big dreams of what you might have made had the video outperformed and it doesn't. And then you kind of resent the deal overall. And so I think you just need to be kind of careful agreeing to these types of deals because some brands can be a little shady with how they structure some of these deals because of that. So good question, Mary. All right. Ashley says, yes, very exciting. Delilah says, yes, so awesome. Haley says, hella hyped. Tess says, definitely signing up. Yeah. So, I'm really excited about this as well, because, one of the things this whole creator, wizard experiment, I don't know if I could call it an experiment anymore. We're well past the experiment phase, is that I've just been so tickled by how much it's grown, by the success that, we've had, by the, amount of y'all who show up here every week, who seem interested in this very nerdy topic about sponsorship strategy. I've just been so tickled by that I really, I've kind of treated this almost like a skunkworks. It's like, I launched this course. Wow, yeah, that's cool. Let's try a bunch of new things with that. Oh, I launched this on-demand version of the course. Oh, that's cool. Let me try these public coaching calls over here. Oh, that's cool. Let me launch a newsletter. Oh, that's cool. Like all of these things, I kind of look at these as experiments. And so I'm never, even though like things are working, I think part of it is, I am a engineer by background. And so the scientific method is very much kind of like my jam. And so what I like doing is like hold all other variables constant. And I'm just going to try one thing. I'm going to try one new thing here and see how it goes. And if it doesn't work, I'll hold another. I'll hold everything else constant and try and tweak one other thing over here. And that's like as much the fun of this as making money or getting views or having all this success. It's like this game. It's like an infinite game. It's like there's an infinite number of like things that I can try and test. And it all goes back to my mission, the North Star of helping creators big and small land 1 million sponsorships by 2032, right? And so all of these different things that I'm trying, that this pitch challenge was very much born out of that goal. It was like, okay, how can I have a larger impact? Well, maybe I can have a larger impact by, not just the course. Maybe there's like these other things that I can do, the challenge, growing the newsletter, trying and doing short form content, writing the book, right? There's all these things that, I'm trying to attack this goal from all these different angles. And testing new things is I think, having that mindset of just like, even if I launch this and it doesn't work out, who cares? Like, it was cool. It was fun. I help people. Like, I just, I don't know. This is how I feel like if you can have that mindset as a creator, if you can extrapolate this for yourself, how can I have this mindset of like fun and fulfillment and testing things and experimenting things? And if you put out a piece of content and it doesn't perform well relative to your, the content you put out last week, it's okay. You just roll with it onto the next one. It's like having this level of humility around this stuff, I think, is a really healthy way to approach life, approach business, because it just makes things more fun. I don't know. I feel like having fun is a missing element for a lot of creators these days. All right. I'm gonna take a swig here. We've got Aiken Adventures tuning in. We've got Rhea Pivo tuning in on Instagram. Good to see you here. Yeah, John says, always testing new things, always growing, always evolving. Chris Ryan from LinkedIn said, this is really good advice. I appreciate you, dude. Thanks for being here. Joshua said, sounds valuable and fun. You know, what's something that was a big eye opener for me. So I've become, pretty good friends with Sean Cannell over at Think Media. And I had a consulting call actually with him. And we were talking about their challenge strategy. Cause they've done, a lot of challenges over the years for their business and helping you get your first 1,000 YouTube subscribers and stuff. They're incredible people. And one of the things that is really interesting is he was mentioning that, people join the challenges that they do multiple times. And that was like, wow, that's really interesting to me. And so it really exploded my view that like, yeah, maybe there are some people who are even alumni of Brand Deal Wizard who might want to do this challenge, like just for like a good, like get the juices flowing again, get back into the pitching habit. Cause that's going to be one of the major outcomes that, of the pitch challenges. Like 7 days, how do we create a pitching habit? That is something that you do over and over and over. And so, yeah, maybe this is valuable to even alumni of the program, of people coaching clients, of stuff, the people that I've worked with. It doesn't just have to be for new people. Right. And so I don't know, I'm just really excited and testing out some of these new types of things and seeing how I can serve people in different ways. The In-Between says, we've been on YouTube running different channels for 7 years, just created an LLC around it all, looking to get on a call with you to hit the ground running with a bespoke strategy to move forward with. Yeah, absolutely. CreatorWizard.com/coaching. Happy to help however I can. I will say my availability for the one-on-one coaching is getting a little more challenging just because I'm doing so many different things. We do have our Wizards Guild, which is the twice weekly asynchronous coaching with me and my team, though. That's really kind of where I'm shifting a lot of my focus, just so I can have some space to write the book. That's like a big priority for me for the next 6 months or so. That definitely is a big priority, but happy to help however I can. Delilah says, I've done a Think challenge twice. It's the hype from the other creators that is so cool to experience, especially in my daily life that I don't know any. That's so awesome to know. Yeah, Think Media is great. We got Shortsy tuning in from X saying, have I missed it or are we getting started? We're towards the latter half of the live stream, but you're here just in time. Don't worry. Eat Like a Bear says, I may jump into those 7 days. Yes, love to hear it. Good to see you here, Amanda. Awesome. We've got, and we got Bianca from my team tuning in, providing some info on the course and all that stuff too. So yeah, you may see Bianca on the live stream more regularly now. She's an awesome member of our team who is helping out with providing links and dropping links to various stuff that we're working on as well. So good to see you here, Bianca. We've got Corey in the kitchen tuning in. We've got It's Mariella, Aiken Adventures. Good to see you here. All right. I am... let's see. Oh, Ashley says, that's exactly what I was thinking. Even alumni would benefit from this challenge, making it a habit to pitch again at the start of 2024 and carrying that throughout the year. Boom. Yes, 100%. Okay. This is validation here because Ashley is an alumni right here, an alumnus. And so good to hear that, that's an exciting thing for you. Yeah. So just full disclosure, the price point that we're looking at is $97. That's going to be the challenge amount. The other thing that we're going to be doing, just you guys are getting first look on this, is that for the very first time, we're going to be offering our sponsorship wheel tracker Notion template as a standalone product that you can purchase. So in addition to that, you'll also be able to purchase the tracker. And I've let me have this be a little bit of a therapy session for me. I've always been a little resistive to selling my templates, my calculators, a lot of my things stand alone, because I've always been very against selling tactics without the strategy. And yeah, I'm sure I could make a lot of money if I sold my brand deal pricing calculator for $50 or $100 or whatever it is. A lot of my templates, my proposal templates, my contract templates, my all these things, you know, that I have ton, you know, if you're an alumni of our program, you know that I have massive amounts of templates and proposal, you know, stuff in my under the resources section, but I've never sold anything standalone. It's because like, I think it's kind of a cop out to sell tactics without the strategy, without understanding, okay, if I were to give you this proposal template and you don't really understand, why do I have this goals page here? Or why do I like have the package structure here so that it's tied to the goals? If you don't really understand that, then I think I'm doing a disservice to you. And again, maybe I'm foregoing a bunch of short-term revenue by not selling those things standalone, but I've always been hung up on this and I've never done it because of that. And I still believe that mostly, but the sponsorship tracker in particular, if there's anything that I feel comfortable selling standalone, it's that. And the reason is that, you know, I hired like a Notion expert to help me design this. But going back to this whole thing around designing a pitching habit, because if you cannot do that, if you cannot get past that initial hump of understanding how to actually reach out to a brand, what to say, who do you reach out to, and critically track those interactions so that you can nurture those relationships, even if you don't get the deal on that first outreach, that is going to be the catalyst. That is going to be the thing that ultimately gives you the confidence to be like, you know what, I can actually do this. I do believe that sponsorships can play a significant role in my business. Like I'm going to do this now. And so having that sponsorship tracker template where you can track all your interactions with brands, it actually proactively reminds you, hey, you need to reach back out to this brand. It's time to repitch them. There's all these formulas built into this template. If there's anything that I've ever created, that's the one that I feel comfortable selling standalone. And so I'm really excited that this is going to be the first time that I'm providing that. There's all these really cool training videos that have been, you know, if you've never used Notion, it's a Notion template. If you've never used Notion, it tells you how to install it and how to use it, and it's awesome. Like that template is so sick. And so I'm really excited to offer that for the first time as well. So yeah, are you guys excited? Because I'm really excited about this. Eat Like a Bear says, that's a really great price, Justin. It's a really nice focus content wise. It will kick us all out of our chairs and get some pitches out there. Yes, I'm so glad to hear that you're excited. Delilah says she's excited about the price point as well. Yeah, I'm excited as well. Look, I'm trying stuff. I don't know what I'm doing, y'all. I'm just like y'all. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm having fun doing it, and I'm excited. I'm excited that you're excited. Yes. All right. Oh man, we've got Lloyd, not George. What's going on, man? Justin the man. What's up, brother? Good to see you here, man. I hope you're well. Love seeing your content out there. Good to see you here, man. Happy New Year to you. Let's see here. John said, when does the challenge start? The challenge starts, the enrollment for the challenge will start on February 5th. So not this Monday, but the next Monday. Can I show? Okay. Actually, no, I want to keep this a secret because I have a video. I have a hype video that I made for the challenge that's going to blow your minds. Like I had so much fun doing it. I wore wigs. I don't think I have my wig here, but I wore wigs in the hype video. I used my money gun in the hype video. You are not going to believe how sick this hype video is. Just wait, just wait. So yes, the challenge enrollment starts on Monday, and then we start that Friday. So it's February 9th to the 16th is the 7 days. And so we're gonna have, you know, like a welcome call, kickoff call. It's gonna be kind of like a combination of live calls as well as like videos, like asynchronous stuff. I've recorded some new stuff for it, like video trainings that I want you to watch. And so it's kind of a combination hybrid type challenge. You know, again, there's gonna be this private kind of pop-up room in my private community that you'll get access to for the duration of the challenge, where, you know, me and my team will be in there providing feedback on your pitches, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, it's going to be kind of a combination of those things. One thing I'm excited is we're going to be doing a live pitch roasting call. Okay, maybe not. I don't want to call it roasting. Audit. How about that? We're doing a live pitch audit call where you can volunteer to have me kind of roast your pitches, basically provide some feedback on how they can improve and be better and all that stuff too. So that's going to be a live call. So yeah, I'm really excited. Again, I'm trying stuff out. I don't know how it's going to go, but by the way, if you want to stay updated on when the pitch challenge launches, make sure to sign up for my newsletter, creatorwizard.com/join if you're not on there. And Bianca, maybe you can drop the link to my newsletter, creatorwizard.com/join in the chat. Excited about that. Excited to launch that. I've been busy kind of behind the scenes, getting everything, getting the hype video done and the kind of the page where you can enroll. And, there's all this stuff that goes on. Like, I don't talk about this much, but like there's all this under the hood stuff that's required when you launch something new like this. And, the email automations is like a big part of it, right? So like, I don't want there to just be like, okay, you enroll, and then it's like, there's nothing to like keep you accountable. That's the whole point of it, right? And so I'm writing this like onboarding sequence, right? So every day you're going to be getting a different email being like, okay, today, here's your task, right? You have to do this. Go watch this video. Go, drop your pitch in this room. Go, come to this live call or whatever. And so there's like every day there's an instruction of like what to do. And so all that requires work. You got to sit down, you got to write those emails and so on. So, there's a lot that goes on to like launching something like this. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I'm excited. Yeah. Delilah says, share the hype. Share the hype. Yes. Tess says, awesome. Thank you so much. Can't wait. Yes. I appreciate you. Yes. Bianca is dropping the link here in the chat, creatorwizard.com/join. All right. Oh, can't share the links until you make her a mod. Oh, I didn't realize that. I'm sorry, Bianca. Look how much of a noob I am. Let me drop the link here myself in the YouTube chat. I saw you dropped it in Instagram. Let's see here. Boom. There we go. I thought I made you a mod on YouTube, but maybe I didn't. But yeah, I just dropped the link. If you're watching on YouTube or Twitch or something like that, you can see the link there, creatorwizard.com/join. All right. Did I miss anyone's questions? Ashley said wigs. LOL. Of course you did. Yeah. Of course. Let me show you. Hold on. Let me show you the wig that I use. I used 2 wigs actually. All right, so you guys can tell me what your favorite wigs are. We got the Joe Dirt. That's what I call it. Anyone ever remember the movie Joe Dirt? Or maybe the Tiger King. I don't know which one that is. Definitely featured that one. And then we've got I don't know what this one would be called, but this is the curly hair Justin. Yeah. So if you want to see me wearing those wigs, and you're wondering why on earth I would wear wigs like that in a video, then you're definitely going to want to go to the pitch challenge, the 7-day pitch challenge hype video when I ultimately release it. Richard Simmons. Oh my God, that's exactly what it is. Was his hair that color though? I don't know if it was that color, but yeah, that Richard Simmons, that's exactly Napoleon Dynamite. Yes, there we go. That's actually apt. This actually seems like Napoleon Dynamite's color of his hair. Maybe Richard Simmons' hair was this color, but yeah, Napoleon Dynamite, that's exactly right. This is the Napoleon Dynamite. And then that one is the Joe Dirt. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah. Justin as Joe Dirt was not on my bingo card for 2024, but here we are. Oh my God. Yes. You're going to die when you see the video. I guarantee it. All right, so we got a bit more time here, so please drop it in the chat if you have any questions about brand deals, sponsorships, negotiations. Please let me know. I'd be happy to answer them. I think I did miss a question earlier on. Brandon from TechAuto.tv says, what is a quick and easy way to say, I don't have the time or resources to make a free video of your product despite your generous affiliate program without sounding like an entitled diva? That's a great question, Brandon. So one of the things I talk about in my gifted to paid program, which is a bonus course that you get when you enroll in Brand Deal Wizard, is that, oftentimes brands have been accustomed to creators being cool with getting free stuff or offering to be an affiliate, right? And so you coming out here and being like, no, you actually got to pay me, may represent a deviation from their standard practice. And so, oh man, this creator's asking for money. Now we're good. We're going to go to all these other creators who are cool doing it for free stuff or being an affiliate, right? And so the onus is actually on you as a creator to, give them a reason why they need to compensate you, right? And so in this situation, typically, what I recommend creators do is you say, "Oh wow, so, your affiliate program looks awesome. Definitely going to check that out." So rather than being like, "Nah, I don't want to be an affiliate," right? It's kind of, I don't want to swear here, but like it's kind of an S sandwich, right? So it's like you say, you're upbeat, right? Say, "Hey, that sounds interesting. I'm definitely going to look into it. Your product sounds cool." And then you give them the S part of it in the middle of that. And you say, I want to swear, but I don't know what's going to happen if this live stream won't get monetized if I swear. I don't actually know. And so you remain upbeat at the beginning of that, and then the middle part of this S sandwich response is to stretch their brain, help them understand that like, oh, this is why we have to pay the creator, right? And so you can say something like, "Hey, if you want to send the product ahead of time and I can test it out and ensure that it would be a good fit for my audience, absolutely you can do that. Then, if at that point you'd like to discuss whether you'd like me to do a review or feature it on my channel for an investment, we can absolutely do that." And so you can actually say, "Hey, sure, send me the free stuff." But make it clear that you actually committing to feature it will require an investment. Like that's a totally reasonable thing to do. And again, that assumes that you want the product and you'd be interested in talking about it were they to pay you. But I think that's like and then the final piece of the S sandwich is, totally understand if that's not something that you're able to do, let's keep in touch, this type of idea. And so again, like I think, because remember how most creators are responding is, what's your budget? How much budget do you have? And then the knee-jerk response for these brands is we're not paying creators right now. And so another thing that you can do is, "Hey, thanks so much. Your product sounds super cool. Thanks for sharing this information about your affiliate program. Just out of curiosity, do your affiliates grant you the rights to repurpose their content for paid advertising? Because that's something that I specialize in. Let me know if you'd like me to send over the different investment options for what that might look like." And so now they're like, "Oh, well, actually, no, our affiliates don't grant us the rights to repurpose their content for paid advertising. Let's talk with this creator because that's not a tactic that we've tried with our own advertising strategy." So again, you're putting yourself into a different category now. You're making them question their strategy. You seem different. Let's engage now. This might open up a Zoom call conversation or them to ask, further questions about, what that actually looks like, what those packages would look like, et cetera, et cetera. So a lot of what I talk about in that gifted to paid course is like pivoting, this idea that like, you have to be saying different things to the brand based on what they're presenting to you. So yeah, so Brandon, hopefully that helps. Man. John said, I've heard you say this before, but to clarify, would you always recommend doing the negotiations yourself instead of delegating? John says, what if Sony offers to send you an FX3 for free? That'd be a dilemma for me. Yeah. So this is a much longer conversation and probably something I need to get into on another live stream, but I have had various experience with management being in different YouTube networks over time, their email addresses, or them being kind of running point on negotiating certain deals. And a lot of what I talk about is that you will always be your own best advocate. And you never really know how you are being represented in the market if it's someone else that is, that you've delegated that to. I will say that I have been my wife's manager for her career for a very long time. And so if you look at that as delegating, yeah, then of course, and I do know a lot of kind of couples who are like that, where it's like kind of the partner who handles the business stuff. And obviously I always kind of introduce myself as husband/manager type idea. And so I definitely do that for my wife. But when it kind of goes outside the family, that's where, it's a concern for me. And a lot of it comes down to my own personal experience when I ran the agency, when I was on the other side of it and I was interacting with other people's managers and I saw how unprofessional they were. I saw how rude they were. I saw how much of a gatekeeping complex that they had. You know, when a brand was potentially willing to pay them, you know, five figures, multi five figures, and the creator was not even willing to get on a call to kind of do a quick ideation session with the brand about how we could potentially bring this to life, simply because the deal hadn't been signed, because it wasn't across the finish line. It wasn't a guaranteed thing. They wouldn't give the brand the time of day. And I think that that is a super myopic way to run a business. And so if that's, these are, again, it's like a much longer kind of conversation probably, but like those are the types of concerns that I have when you delegate it to someone who ultimately at the end of the day may not have your best interests at heart. And again, I know a lot of managers, a lot of agents, and many of them are very great, but a lot of them aren't. And so let's just leave it at that. But again, this is going to be a primary topic of my book, Fire Your Manager. So anyways, thank you so much again for showing up here each and every week. I see a lot of you here every single week. It means a lot to me. And I only have one thing to say: go Niners.